Well, what's going on, Facebook family? It was the eve before Thanksgiving.
That's
Turkeys
right.
were being fried, yams were being prepared, potato
Mm.
salad was being made, and it was a Wellness Wednesday with Positive Choices Counseling Service and my good friend, Mr. Edward J. Brown, in the
Hey,
building. How you doing, my friend, my
hey,
brother, on
man.
this Thanksgiving Eve?
Happy Thanksgiving Eve to you, my brother, you and your family. It's good to see you looking well. And even with that shirt on, I appreciate being here with you on this particular Wellness Wednesday.
So family, it is Wellness Wednesday. Share this with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I'm sharing it right now with some folks. Um, it is the holiday edition. Your mental health matters, and I think we need to continue the conversation. And we do it every Wednesday. We weren't on last Wednesday, but we're back this Wednesday, and we're going to definitely get into some great conversation. There's some things we're going to talk about. First, we're going to talk about, of course, the holidays are not happy for everyone.
Absolutely.
Number two, since it is the eve to Thanksgiving, what are you thankful for and being thankful?
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, I just talked to my brother before we went on air about this. Uh, don't get pulled into other folks' mess and let other
Ooh-wee.
folks' mess put you in distress.
Ooh-wee. I like the way
Yeah,
that sound, Brother Dupree. Don't
yeah,
let
yeah.
other
Let
folks' mess put you in distress. Very
That's
good. I
it.
can't wait to get into that, man.
So we're definitely going to get into some great conversation. Um, you know, it is the holidays,
Yeah.
and a lot of stuff is going on. We're processing a lot of information right now. A lot of us are processing the Wittenhouse verdict from out of
Yeah.
Wisconsin
Yeah.
today, coming out of Georgia. The Albury verdict came.
Absolutely.
Um, and a lot of people are processing that, and that's why I say don't let other people's mess get
Hmm.
you down and depressed and pull you into what
Yeah.
they got going on.
You will be surprised how that will be the topic of a lot of family Thanksgiving discussions.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
and I think that we need to really focus on on what Thanksgiving means, how it affects some of us positively, and how it affects some of us not so positive.
correct.
So I think that not letting other folks mess put you in distress is a great way to start the show, man. I really think it is.
Okay, so let's get into the conversation. A lot
Okay.
right now, and I'm seeing this. I'm seeing it on job. I see people who are normally friendly to one another, not be kind of being a little standoffish with
Oh,
one
yeah.
another because I didn't like the way the Wittenhouse verdict
Mm-hmm.
came. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like the way the Albury verdict came.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't work. Everybody takes sides. Everybody
Yeah.
has some level of I don't call it people like to use the word racism when I should say they should use the word prejudice. We all have our
Absolutely.
our
Yeah.
certain our certain amount of prejudices.
Prejudices and
Yeah,
biases. We
correct.
all have our prejudices and biases. And when we look at what's going on in society, one of the things that I always like to say is what and how much of what's going on will you allow to impact what's actually going on in your life and in your home?
Correct.
And I even went as far as taking an analogy with some friends because I'm actually with family right now. We're in Orange Beach, Alabama, and we were sitting around and we were talking about how just because we have different viewpoints, different things, how much of that are we going to let impact our lives? And this is what I always say as I'm writing this book. How much of other people's stuff are you going to allow to impact your thermostat? Other
Mm,
folks cannot be in control of your thermostat.
mm.
So when we sit back and we look at what's going on in the media and we look at what's going on in our communities, yes, all you can do is all you can do. However, when you start to allow things to change the climate of your environment, you may need to step back and take a look at it through a different perspective. Because as much as what's going on with Rittenhouse or with the Aubrey case, yes, Stay in tune, because we always want to have our pulse on our community. However, remember, everyone has their own viewpoint, their own perspective, and as you said, Brother Dupree, their own prejudice and their bias. Like you and I, we can joke as much as I'm prejudiced and biased. I'm prejudiced against Grambling. I'm biased when I believe the Jags are the better school. You know, we have our prejudice and our bias, but at the end of the day, you and I can both say what? When it comes to the SWAC, we can come together.
Right.
And we can put our biases and our prejudices aside.
Don't play with my HBCUs. You know, and our bias has to do with you're a Southern alum.
Correct.
And watch this. I am a graduate of grad school from the Grambling State University.
Then you're an alum. They're gonna claim you.
Right. You know, even though my undergrad was the University of Maryland. You know, and once again, it's because of where you were at. You know, you walked the yard at the Southern University. Correct. I walked the yard at the Grambling State University. So, you know, this Bayou Classic is about to come up, and you know, once again, you know, there are people who feel a certain way when Bayou Classic time comes around. You know, because let's just say it, times have changed.
Oh, absolutely.
I have literally been at every Bayou Classic since I got to Grambling in 1995. I have not missed a Bayou Classic since 1995. And I've seen the evolution of the pre and post festivities. You know, like right now, somebody has already asked me, well, man, I know I'm going to see you after the game. And I'm like, no, you won't, because times have changed and generations have changed. And, you know, and seems like every Bayou Classic, and I pray it doesn't happen this Bayou Classic, but there always seems to be an incident or a situation or something adverse happens, and that makes people anxious. Some folks say, well, I just won't go out and mix and mingle because I don't want nothing bad to happen.
So not being able to understand that everyone has the right to their opinions, their feelings, and their likes and dislikes. But when we start getting to the point where we allow our differences to make us indifferent, then that changes the whole complexity of situations. We always say we can disagree without being disagreeable. So what we have to be able to understand is whether you're a Gramblinite or a Southernite or whether you are another alumni of one of these other great institutions within the SWAC, we all have our differences and our biases. But at the end of the day, how much are you going to allow that to impact your life? In other words, Brother Dupree, when we together, our biases for Grambling/Southern does not impact us enjoying the time that we're able to fellowship together. It will not do that. But we have a level of maturity that I think sometimes is missing from some of these up and coming generations. You know, because what we always say, us old heads, as they call us now, Dupree, we can argue and talk trash, but when the game is over, hey man, you want some barbecue? Come on over to you know, we
family. We family.
But what we have happening is people don't know how to put their differences aside. And that's kind of going back to what we're talking about in regards to not allowing, you know, things to change and impact how we feel. We all may disagree with what happened with Rittenhouse. We may not like it. But at this point, what's done is done. Have your feelings, have your opinions, express them, and then let it go. Just because someone may say, well, I think he got off and he deserved to get off. That's your opinion. Don't make it right, but it's your opinion. And you have the right to that opinion. We have a lot of shows coming up this year, Brother Dupree. And one of the ones I want to talk about is when we start looking at women and men and the images we give.
Right.
I tell people all the time, I will defend a woman's right to wear whatever she want to wear. But you also have to be prepared for the feedback, or as they say, the pushback that people give. Now, people have a right to their opinion the same way you have the right to what you wear. But so now we're looking at Rittenhouse. Do you believe this young brother should have been convicted? Absolutely. If he was not, How much are you going to allow that to walk around mad, angry, full of resentment for the judicial system? Does it actually benefit you?
Mm.
Does it actually impact your life in a positive way?
Mm.
So when we start looking at what we're doing and how we're feeling, I tell people never give anyone control over your life's thermostat. As much as I am who I am, I control my thermostat, because if it's something that I don't like, I remove myself from the situation, or I interject my feelings, and then guess what? I leave it alone.
Right, right,
You
right.
know,
I mean,
but we have a lot of folks that we believe that if you, that's something else we're going to talk about this. How do you argue?
right.
You
How
know,
you deal with conflict
how do you deal with
resolution?
conflict? You know,
Right.
here's my thing. A conflict starts by me saying we disagree.
Come on.
And that's how it begins. Then after that, you'll say, okay, now the it changes. And now the new direction of the disagreement is, I need you to believe and say that I'm right.
Mm.
And if you won't believe and say that I'm right, now I'm angry.
Right.
And once we become angry, then it progresses from there. So now when we start looking at not letting other people's mess put us give us stress, we're gonna have to look at, this is the part nobody want to talk about, but I'm gonna put it out there because that's just the gentleman that I am. We getting ready to be around family in the next 24 hours.
Come on.
Family of which we all don't agree with.
Come
We
on.
all don't like. We don't
Mm.
all get along.
Come on.
You understand? So you're sitting here and it's gonna be a house full of people, and you and Junior don't like each other.
Ain't really wanting to talk to each other.
Don't even really, we try not to even be in the same area of the house.
Come on.
But what we may end up doing is we're gonna end up and find ourselves together at the sweet potato pie.
Mm.
So now what happens? You looking at me mean mugging, I'm looking at you mean mugging. Over something that has never been resolved. Because see, that's one of the things we don't realize when we start talking about mental health. There are going to be issues that you cannot resolve.
Mm.
And what do you do when you get to that point?
Agree to
You
disagree.
agree that we are not going to resolve this, and you move on.
Come on.
But as a people, we can't do that. When you and I were talking about the direction this show was going to take for the holidays, one of the things I said I wanted to talk about was, what are we really truly thankful for, and what does it mean to be thankful?
Mm.
So now
That's awesome question.
but
Awesome question.
what does it mean to be thankful? And look, when we get to that part, I hope, brother Dupree, I'm gonna blow your mind. So now we're looking at the fact that we all have differences, and what happens when you can't come to an agreement.
Mm.
At some point, you have to leave it alone.
Right. Right.
And you have to say, this is something that we cannot resolve. So I'm no longer going to allow this to impact me. I'm not going to carry it around, and I'm not going to let it affect my relationship with you.
Right. You just
You know,
you see it the way you see it.
and I
It
see.
is right, right. It is the way it is, and there may be a multitude of factors of why you see it the way you see it and why I see it the way I see it. I always say this: we have to learn as a people to respect where each other is coming from and understand. I may not have experienced what you have experienced. You may not have experienced what I have experienced. There's necessarily not a right or a wrong in some of these situations. It is a perspective that one sees it from the looking glass of what they've been through. I give you a prime example. This is, I think, one of the things that mental health specialists needed to be on call for. There was a video that went around of a former NFL player that played for the Jets, who had a domestic issue with his baby's mother, and it was horrible. Everybody who saw it was horrible. There were some folks who could not, because of what they have been through, They could
Watch.
not watch it.
They
There were
couldn't.
people I saw at my place of employment that were like, "You want to see? Let me show this to you." And they were
Mhm.
like, "No,
I
no,
don't.
I can't watch
Yeah.
stuff like that
Mhm.
because it takes me back to a time in my life that I survived or
Mm.
I was in the midst of
Mhm.
something of that nature."
Mhm.
So what we have to understand is that there are some things you can see that I can't see, and there's
Mhm.
some things I can see that you can't see
Yeah.
because of where we came from. There's no joke to this.
Yeah.
There's no secret to this. Like for myself, with me and abandoned children,
Mhm.
children that go through adoptions, children that go through the social system that is set up through the state. Because I went through those things. I was an abandoned child. I was an
Yeah.
adopted child. I was a child that was a ward of the state. So I know how it feels to be in foster care. I know how all that feels. So for a person who's been through that, I have a different feeling than a person who's never been through that.
Yeah. And we sit down and we look at what these triggers are.
Right.
There's what's called a trigger. So if someone is watching that video and they've been a victim of domestic violence, that video is a trigger. So to say, well, what's wrong with you? Why you don't want to watch it? Come look at how he did this. I don't want to see that. I
Right.
don't want to be, I don't want to have a relationship with that video in any way, shape, or form. We have to realize that triggers are real. The holidays are a trigger for a lot of people. The way the holiday rolls around and everybody's like, oh, I'm going to Black Friday. I'm going to get my Thanksgiving turkey. And then there's people looking like, nah.
Right.
And you're like, what's wrong with you? It's the holidays. You should be happy. You should feel this way. You should be this way. Something's wrong with you if you don't. First thing you don't know is you don't know my journey. You don't know what I've gone through that's gotten me to this point. I don't care for Thanksgiving because I don't have a true grasp on the whole concept of Thanksgiving. Now,
Right.
what I've done over the years is when I've worked with people during the holiday season as a mental health professional, I try to get people and say, listen, let's not look at the holiday Thanksgiving, which we equate with turkey and food and gatherings and things like that. And let's look at the holiday season in regards to what I'm thankful for. And
Okay.
people have a tendency to look at me and say, I ain't thankful for much. With this COVID pandemic,
Mm.
things have truly changed. And I had a lady the other day that came to my office for her session, and she said, I hate the holidays because I hate Thanksgiving and I hate Christmas. I said, let's look at Thanksgiving in a different light. I said, there's people right now that would pay you $1 billion for a breath
Mm.
just to be able to inhale and exhale. To have gone through this pandemic and not been sick. To have gone through this pandemic and still have your family healthy.
Come on.
See, now we have to start looking at thankfulness through different eyes, Brother Dupree.
Come on.
Because we have a tendency to run through life with confetti and balloons and daisies. COVID made us look at thankfulness through
Differently.
different eyes. So
Differently.
we've gone
Because
just in this 30 minutes, this 20 minutes, we've gone from looking at not letting other people's stuff
right.
impact us to the point of how much are you going to allow that to impact you, to are you going to allow it to take away what you're truly thankful for?
So not only that, the holidays is not happy for everyone.
Not for everybody.
And you don't know what could have happened during the
Mhm.
holidays. Like for example, okay, you cannot tell me that Ahmaud Arbery's mother won't always remember the eve of Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
The eve of Thanksgiving was when a verdict was rendered in the murder trial of her child.
Of her son.
So
That's right.
so you got to think about folks. Just think about folks who within, let's say, the last 90 days, we're going to start there, may have lost a loved one
Mhm.
leading up to Thanksgiving. Let's
There's
think
going to be
about the
that empty chair at the table this year.
right. Let's
Yeah.
think how many people have and not only to the global pandemic. They could have lost a loved one to senseless gun violence. They could
Mm-hmm.
have lost a loved one
Mm-hmm.
to domestic violence. They could have
Absolutely.
lost a loved one to uh many of these military wars and campaigns that we have around the
Absolutely.
world. You just
Absolutely.
don't know why an individual may feel the way they feel
Mm-hmm.
during this time of year because of the loss of a loved one that may happen months ago, years ago, decades ago,
Mm-hmm.
because you just don't know what people are going through
Absolutely.
and the thought process. So I feel like many a times people need to to just back up a little bit
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and have a little understanding.
I
I remember that song from Escape. All I really need is just some
understand.
understanding.
Right. Yeah.
So I think sometimes our problem is we think everybody grew up like we grew up,
Mm-hmm.
went through what we went through, and
Mm.
has been dealt the same cards in life that we have been dealt when that's not the truth.
Well, the first thing we have to agree with is that everyone's experience with life is different. Life is individualized. I wish we all lived the same life and we all were able to help one, but everyone's experience in life is individualized. So I've had people call me recently and say, okay, like you said, Brother Joe, I've lost this one. I've lost that one. We're going to have this empty seat at the table. My dear is not here. My son is not here. My brother is not here. What do you suggest we do in order to recognize, or do we just pretend it didn't happen? As a grief therapist, one of the things that I tell people is the first thing that I believe as a mental health professional we do that is incorrect is, unfortunately, we've been taught to mourn death instead of celebrate life.
Mm,
So I'm sitting here with you and I'm telling you, okay, instead of you guys sitting around moping about or being filled with a sense of sadness, why don't everybody take 5 minutes and tell your funniest story to celebrate the life of this individual? And I had a lady come to me last year. She said, I had to stop it at an hour and a half because it was time to eat. Everybody had a story to tell about Medea. We lost Medea to COVID. Everybody had a story to tell, to the point where we started to say, wait a minute, y'all want to get some food? We can pick this up. And she said, and before we realized, instead of crying like we did months after she died, we were all laughing and we were celebrating the life that she lived and the life that we were able to share. So when we start looking at what people are doing during this Thanksgiving and this holiday time that's not happy for them, I would challenge everybody. Take 30 minutes and sit down and tell stories that will make you laugh and make you smile about the times you had with these individuals. Now, we're looking at Thanksgiving. Forget the holiday. Let's look at the word Thanksgiving.
mm.
We're going to give thanks. If you do not have something to be thankful for,
Come on.
call me. And I
Mm.
promise I can give you at least 10 things. Now I'm challenging anybody. If you can't come up with one, call me and I will look in your life and find at least 10.
That's what I'm talking
Because
about.
at this point right here, right now, we have individuals who are, because I've been up here in Orange Beach, Alabama, and I've been walking around since Monday. And I said, these folks don't act like we still in the middle of a pandemic. They don't act like. But brother Dupree, if it wasn't nighttime, I would take this camera and show you the view that I have of the beach. And I said, I understand why. They living the life. Now, they would say, oh, this is nothing. Let me show you what I did. I'm here for 6 days, and I'm grateful. You live here, and you don't even give it a second thought.
Right. Right.
Every day you can walk to the beach and stand out on the beach, watch the sun rise and watch it set on what we spend tons of money to experience. And you ain't grateful? No, what you are is you're complacent. You're complacent in the sense that you don't understand your everyday life is what we spend thousands of dollars to experience. So if we don't do anything else in this podcast tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to address what we're thankful for.
You know,
What we're grateful for.
I think that's wonderful. And I think, this is where I take time out and let people know that we do these Wellness Wednesdays, and it's brought to you by Positive Choices Counseling Services. And should you need them, they have locations. They have a location in Vidalia, Louisiana, in Jonesville, Louisiana, and in Lafayette, Louisiana. You can also visit them online at positivechoicescounseling.org. And I will post that up very soon. Family, when I say the holidays aren't happy for everyone, at the same time, I need us, brothers and sisters, family members, friends, to start checking on one another. Start asking, especially this time of year, are you okay? I know, say, look, I'm not really trying to get into your business because, the taboo in community of colors is you nosy, you in my business.
Yeah.
But, just ask a person, are you okay? Because suicide rates are high during this time of year. People who are in complete depression and loneliness is high this time of year. And family, it is our responsibility to check in on one another. Now, I want you to share this with a friend. If you're right now on the feed, I'd like to say what's up to Miss Rhonda Hurston. She's always very faithful.
Hey, Rhonda, I've noticed you from this podcast. Hey, Miss Rhonda.
Right. So she's very faithful to not only this podcast I do, but another one I do with a good friend of mine from out of New York, with WBLS and Brother Fatim Muhammad. We're here trying to give you information because what I don't want to do is lose another one of us. When all we had to do was give you an avenue or give you individuals you could reach out for. We are here to help. We, just think about how many folks who has committed suicide, who has dealt with a very bad situation, that if somebody could have just spoke to them before it happened, things could have been a whole totally different outcome. So
one of the things people who commit suicide always say prior in their letters or even in interventions prior to them is that they feel alone. They feel that nobody understands, that no one understands that what I was going through. And if we could just reach out and get to them and talk to them, the first thing they say is, I didn't know you understood. Because depression will make you feel like you're all alone. Suicidal ideations will make you believe no one can understand what you're going through. So the first thing we always say is reach out and talk to someone. Just get anybody, someone that will at least take time to listen to what you have to say, because it's important. What you have to say is important. So we want to make sure during the holiday season that individuals understand that Positive Choices is available. If you need to reach out to Positive Choices and speak to someone, if you're thinking about, getting mental health services, please reach out. If you believe that you're alone and no one understands your problems, please reach out. Positive Choices is available. We're able, we're capable, we're qualified mental health professionals, and we will definitely get you the help that you need.
And they have great services like telehealth services.
Absolutely.
You can be not, you don't have to be in the office. You don't have to sit on the couch. You can do what we're doing right now and have this type of conversation with a professional mental health professional who can help you work your way through situations and circumstances, because your mental health matters. You know, a healthy you is a better you, and you have to be holistically healthy, not just physically. We need mind, body, and soul completely healthy, where you can move on and really enjoy this life to the fullest. You know, and I wanted to take time out also and let you know that it is times like this that you also have to start asking the children. And when I say the
Oh,
children, starting at junior high, high school, and even some
mm,
elementary, you got to start asking the uncomfortable question: kids, are you all right? Because listen, it's times like this, the holidays, when we deal with a lot of single parent homes, when we
yes,
deal with a lot of blended families, when
yes.
some children are just now experiencing, of course, the repercussion of two parents who may have went their separate ways in divorce. This might be their first holiday without mom and
Outpost
dad
that.
being together,
Right.
mom and dad. So,
That's right.
you got to sometimes start just being a little more observant and
Mhm,
ask the question, are you okay? And understand that you might not have all the answers. And if
mhm,
you don't have all the answers, you need to seek somebody professional to walk you through this, because at the end of the day, I'd rather seek out Brother Brown and get some help than to have some slow singing and flower bringing and have to
absolutely.
be in front of a pastor and a casket for a eulogy.
We tell people all the time, life is difficult for us as adults to understand. So try to imagine what it's like for a young person coming up, going into adulthood, from adolescence or young adulthood, and them trying to understand the issues that surrounded their cognitive development. What we always say is, if you don't understand, ask somebody, because life, this is one of the true things we can always say about life. Life doesn't present any new issues, they just present them to new people.
Mm,
So somebody understands what you're going through. Someone at least can contribute to your growth and your knowledge regarding a particular situation. I remember my grandfather was one of the most impactful people in my life. I felt he knew everything about everything. And only thing that I realize now at the age that I'm, being a grandfather myself, is that life presents the same issues to different people. And sometimes we have to realize we have to draw upon one another in order to truly understand how to overcome certain things. So here we are now at the holiday season again, in the pandemic for the second year.
mm.
This is the second year we've had a holiday season during the pandemic. Now, yes, we have, loosened some of the restrictions in how we're going to get together. Are we going to get together as a family? Are we going to bring large numbers of people to Madeir's house or wherever the holiday may bring? But now we got to ask, is this person vaccinated? Is that person vaccinated? How much
Mm.
stress is this going to be on us in regards to, do we fellowship during a pandemic or not? What we have to do is communicate. Brother Dupree, at this point, we have to communicate. Knowledge is power. And mental health is one of those things we don't want to talk about. It's one of those things we don't speak about openly because it brings about the stigma. We cannot avoid it at this point. We are looking at children. Children literally have anxiety by not getting the Christmas presents that they want.
Mm.
Where does that anxiety come from? That comes from anxiety that they put on themselves, their friends put on them. I looked at one of my former students. She posted her daughter's Christmas list. Brother Dupree, her daughter is 16 years old.
Mm.
She had a car on her list that cost $65,000.
Now that's
She had
pressure.
a she had a purse on her list that cost $3,000.
Ooh.
As I was looking at the list, I was like, well, now if she doesn't get these things on this list, how is she gonna feel? But then I had to look at it from another perspective. Mama posted the list because she was saying, I'm not buying this stuff.
Wow.
So does mama feel some type of way about not buying the stuff? So we have to pay attention to what type of baggage, pressure, issues we're taking upon ourselves during the holiday season.
Come on.
We cannot allow ourselves to put these rocks in our pocket by societal norms. Societal norms will make us feel inadequate, will make us feel less than, will make us feel like failures. We cannot allow that to happen. You have to let our children know they cannot define themselves by what they have, because if you don't have anything, then you feel like nothing.
Right. You feel like you have no worth.
And you have no worth.
And
that is part of the truth.
Right. We're going to do, as we continue to do these Wellness Wednesdays, we're going to definitely do one where we talk about children and reasonable expectations of understanding that it's not easy being a youth these days. The temptations are humongous. The information overload from social media and what they are portrayed on, what they have to be, or the pressure that's being put on them to keep up with little Susie and little Johnny. And like you said, the pressure of them saying, at this age, I deserve XYZ. So and so has XYZ.
Exactly.
I laugh at folks, especially in certain social economical circles. I'm like, when I see people with Louis and Gucci and Prada, but still they're living in low income housing, their own social services like food stamps, or they have a government paid for phone. I'm like, okay, where are we at with this? Now don't get me wrong.
Why do we do that? Yeah.
Right, hold it. Don't get me wrong. Everybody deserves whatever it is they want. Now, I really want people to catch what I'm saying, because somebody might come through and say, "Well, what are you saying?" No. If you want a certain thing and you work hard to get that certain thing, you deserve whatever you have worked hard for. Sometimes I just think we need to set our priorities in line.
Hey, Brother Dupree.
Yes, sir.
They at me because I'll say it. You don't need a $3,000 purse if you don't have $3,000 in the bank.
Come on.
See, they can get mad at me because I can handle it. You don't need a $50,000 car if you renting a house.
Come on.
You understand? So that's just and unfortunately, we've gone too long without saying certain things. That's a whole nother show. But I'll say it. You know what I'm saying? Your child shouldn't have $1,000 video game if he can't read.
Come on.
So, unfortunately, we don't want to say some of these tough things that we need to say. I didn't buy my BMW when I was living in my mama's house.
Come on.
I had a mortgage before I bought my BMW. So when we start looking at, we got kids with $1,000 video game systems who making minimum grades in school. That's not the kid's problem. That's a real problem. So yes, I always believed that we should, give our kids what they want. But I also believe there's an issue of deserve versus get. I shouldn't buy these things just because I can. I bought this because you deserve it.
Right. See, you earned it. You earned it. You position yourself.
But we don't want to do that.
Well, here's the crazy thing. And this is just, to me, this is a real mental health issue here, because somewhere I stanky thinking. That's what I like to call it. I stanky thinking ain't right. When you get out into the real world, it's good when you're at home in the Matrix, but when you get out in the real, when you take that red pill and you get out in the real world, the real world ain't giving you nothing. When I say giving you nothing, the real world is really not going to give you a thing. Now, the real world may appear that they're giving you something, but let me tell you, nothing free in the real world. In the real world, everything you get, you earn it. And listen, you only gonna get what you work for. Unless you get it by other means.
Yeah, we stepping on some toes, but and we maybe even took a little left turn in our subject matter tonight. But I believe that needs to be said considering we coming up with, the holidays, Christmas coming up.
Right.
And we
Because
have
that's a mental health issue. That
yeah.
puts mental strain on people.
Mhm.
If listen, there are people right now. Look, okay, yeah, we're about to take another turn, and I'm about to take a hit, but I got my Gremlin shirt on tonight. I can take this hit. Let go, because unfortunately, I got a funny feeling my Tiger's gonna be taking some hits on Saturday anyway. But look, I want to talk real to you.
Okay.
There's people right now making decisions to do illegal things like sell dope and do other illegal things, sell their body, sell dope, sell their body, steal, do all kind of illegal things, trying to provide for their kids where their kids can keep up with the Joneses. Well, who the Joneses?
Exactly.
Okay, look, I'm just being real. There are people right now who listen, they doing everything they can to go shop on what they call the bigger side of town or the more posh side of town. I'm just saying, people right now are selling dope, selling their bodies. They doing everything. They selling their food stamps. They doing everything. They doing everything illegal they possibly can, where they can tell their children that look, you can get what little Tommy and them got with little Tommy mom and dad. Let's just be real about it. Little Tommy mom and dad got a 6-figure job, living in a middle or upper middle class neighborhood. It just hurts my soul. And don't get me wrong, I believe children deserve whatever you can afford to get them. And make them understand this is where we're at for this moment. Doesn't mean we need to be here forever. But however, when you're out here and you live in public housing, and you just got your daughter a Louis bag, or better yet, you put that expectation, then you start putting really the expectation on her that me living in public housing is okay because I still look like I'm rich.
Exactly. Yeah.
I look like I'm rich and wealthy, but where I live doesn't say I'm rich and wealthy.
Exactly. We have to get to the point where we understand the difference between value and worth. See, there's a difference between value and worth. Now, I'm not ashamed to say it, I have a few Rolexes, right?
Okay.
But my most precious watch is the one my grandfather gave me that I know this watch didn't cost him $5.
Okay.
But its value to me.
Right. Come on.
You understand? Its value to me is invaluable. It may be worth $7. So what we have a tendency to not teach our children is that if you earn and deserve something, you value it beyond its worth. Because the studying and the good grades and the being obedient to your parents, things like that, means more to me than it's what it costs. So at some point, when you give your children things they have not earned, they do not value it. You see what I mean? They don't value. That's why they can take it and they can leave it, or they don't care and it doesn't matter. But when they've worked for something and they've earned it, its value surpasses its cost. Are we understanding? Its value. Think about this, Brother Dupree. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Come on.
Do you
come
remember your first car?
Do I?
Okay. Let me ask you this. How did you get your first car?
My brother, I stacked hay. I stacked hay in a little town of Henderson, Tennessee. There may be a few people on this feed who know me, know I grew up the son of a sharecropper. For those of you who don't know what a sharecropper is, Google it. But I had a watermelon patch where I had an acre of land that I grew watermelons, and I helped my father bale and stack hay. And I saved up enough money to go buy me a Ford Pinto. A Ford Pinto. That was my first car. I used to call it the Go-Go Gadget car.
Hey,
If
couldn't
my
nobody
nephew
tell
was,
you nothing about that car, could they?
if my nephew was on here right now, he would laugh because it was a orange Ford Pinto with a Starsky and Hutch stripe on it. So me and you can laugh because we know what we're talking
You
about.
know what we're talking about. Yeah.
But listen, I worked hard for that vehicle, and I kept that vehicle for 3 years until I got my next vehicle, and I was getting ready to leave for college and the military, which was a very nice 5.0. It wasn't a Mustang, it was actually a Mercury Capri, because Mercury used to have its own version of the Mustang, which was called the Capri. And I got a Mercury Capri, but everything I worked for, and because I worked for it, I took good care of it.
Exactly. So you valued it more than it cost.
Right. Come on.
See, its cost was irrelevant because of its value to you. And if we don't start to reinstill in our children value of something, that's like education. My grandfather said, education is that one thing nobody can take from you. And I thought about that. I was like, wait a minute, nobody can take it from me. And I understood what he meant. No one can take that from you. Like they can take a leather jacket from you. They can take a watch from you. No one can take that from you. So our value system in regards to the holidays, because I remember there was a time where black people, remember when Kwanzaa first was created?
Come on.
We were not going to go into the stores and buy gifts. We were going to make gifts.
Right. Come on.
And those gifts was going to be more valuable. You notice we're not talking valuable in the sense of money as much as we're talking about value. And I made this out of my mind. I created something with my own hands. So when we start talking about the holidays, be it Thanksgiving, what are you thankful for? Or Christmas, what do you value during this gift-giving season? You know, my grandson picked a plastic flower up from somewhere at his school and gave it a year ago. And we still have that plastic flower. I still have that plastic flower because it's not the cost, but it was the value of the thought he put into saying, I'm going to take this flower and I'm going to give it as a gift. Today, we are too wrapped up into the cost of things. That's why during the holiday seasons, people fall on depression because they do not value the ability to breathe, the ability to communicate, the ability to say, hey, Brother Joe, how you doing, man? How you feeling today, my brother? The value of saying, you know, hey, man, we had more than enough food. We decided to fix this plate and just drop it off to you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Come on.
You know what I mean? You sitting more food than you gonna have.
Right. You're gonna throw there's people
food away.
You remember our mothers used to say that there's people starving all over this world. And we throwing food away.
They can have this broccoli because I don't want it. They can have this
now I know we stepping on toes.
Yeah,
I just got 2 messages and I got to address both of these messages.
We're absolutely stepping on toes.
So I gotta address both of these messages I done got here, Dr. Brown. Message number 1 said, now my good friend, you make it seem like it's wrong for us to want nice things. No, I did not say that. Whatever you want, you should put yourself in a position that whatever it is that you want, you do what you have to do legally and work hard to go get it. And you should set that example for everyone who sees you, that regardless of your education, regardless of where you were born, regardless of your background, regardless of whatever, when you put your mind to it and you start to do what needs to be done to obtain whatever it is you're trying to obtain, you should get it and be proud that you got it. However, because this person here put here's part B. You know, it comes very across that what you're saying is against some of the things I've heard preached to me on Sundays. Well, I got good news and bad news for you. The person who wrote this to me, and I'm going to address him. Since you addressed me on the back door, I'm going to address you in the front living room. So here's the deal. A lot of y'all been preached and talked to wrong. A lot of y'all been preached and told that, you know, you need to do, you know, because you got folks that making you holler for a dollar. And if I got some preachers that are mad at me about it, you're going to get mad, stay mad, and be mad. Because the truth about the matter is, you have to position yourself. There are people right now who are living in houses that they shouldn't live in, that are driving cars they shouldn't drive, that are going through mental anguish and hellified mental problems of how do I pay these bills, because you're trying to keep up with folks that don't like you, don't care about you, and don't really care about what you got. You know, you're trying to be Louis and Gucci'd up for folks. You're trying to look like Kim Kardashian, and you ain't nowhere close to a Kim Kardashian type money. You're not in that money category. You trying to talk like you running with a Bezos and a Eli Musk, but they don't even know your name. They don't know. Hold it, be exact. They wouldn't even know your name if you actually worked for one of their companies. But you know, but you want to walk around here and act like it's one thing that, and this person really got me hot, and I'm trying to be cool. Because what I want to really tell the person is, I'm not speaking against nice thing. I'm speaking against you foolish folks who always try to use the things that are supposedly nice things to equate that you're good people. You know what? I know a lot of bad people that drive Porsche. I know a lot of bad people who are rapists, who are child pedophilia. I know a lot of bad people who live in nice houses, drive nice cars, and go to churches that look very nice every damn Sunday.
Okay, well let me interject with brother. I understand what they're saying, because we have a big God, and we have a big God, and our God wants us to have wonderful things and successful, you know, a life, and he wants to have all of the wonderful things that life offers. But he also wants us to be of service. Service is how it starts. What you give out, what you plant, what seeds you put out there is determined what your harvest will be. So if you get 10 seeds and you spend them all on you, then you will have nothing to harvest. So when people say, well, you talking like you don't want us to be successful and have nice things, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in order to have those things, there has to be work and service that goes into that. So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if you have $100 and you spend that $100 on something to appear to be something, you could have spent that $100 on something that will allow you to be that thing you're trying to appear to be. So at no shape, at no point or time am I trying to say, neither are you, Brother Joe, that we don't want individuals to have the finer things in life.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, let's not be foolish, because a foolish man or woman will end up with nothing. I used to always say, I don't want a bunch of stuff and not have any money or relationship with God.
Come on. At what cost? At what cost?
So if you telling me I can take, you know, I think about this all the time. Think about it like this, Brother Joe. And this is that question that I believe almost everyone have had. If you had the winning lottery ticket and the people tell you you can take $50 million right now, or you could take $100 million over the next 20 years, which one would you take? You see what I'm saying? And a lot of our folks, unfortunately, will say, I'll take the 50 million right now. I don't knock those people, but I do question and say, you know, why? You left $50 million on the table. So when we start saying you gotta $3,000 purse, but you don't have $3,000 in the bank, it just makes me and Brother Joe scratch our heads.
Come on.
If you choose, I don't knock you. I don't have any ill feelings towards it. All the comment was made, and we've taken this whole podcast in another direction. But
Right.
it appears we need to address this. I don't believe that anybody is knocking anyone that chooses to the finer things in life. But if you are pawning things, or you are, as you said, Brother Joe, selling your body or whatever, or stealing,
doing anything illegal, right?
Do anything illegal to acquire
keep up
these
with the
things,
Joneses, right?
I ask you, as a mental health professional, why are those things that important to where you would compromise your integrity?
Come on.
Nothing is more important than your integrity.
Listen, and
that's what I think Brother Joe was saying when he made those comments.
Another friend of mine backdoored me and said something that was really funny. She said, Joe, you have a very good point. It saddens me when I see a person pull out a real Louis Vuitton bag and reach in that bag and pull an EBT card out of it.
I never thought about that, Brother Joe. That's a good point.
She said then that same individual walks out that same store after purchasing a large amount of groceries with an EBT card and gets into a very nice shiny Mercedes-Benz. She said, I'm there scratching my head, especially when I know said person is about to pull that Mercedes-Benz up into public housing.
Okay, so what we have to look at, from considering this is Wellness Wednesday, where we talk about mental health.
Come on.
Why does that bother you when someone says that's not good logical sense?
Right.
You understand? That should not cause you any anger or make you feeling because someone says that's not good logical sense. I'm not ashamed to say this. I remember when I always thought renting a nice house was fine.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I'm renting a nice house. Look at this house. This is my house. When in actuality, it was not my house. I had to learn, I was receptive to learn, wait a minute. What do you mean the goal should be home ownership?
Come on.
I don't understand that.
Knowledge. Hold it. When you know better, you can do better. And many a time, and since somebody tried to get very biblical with me, backdoor me and get biblical, the Bible does say, in all you're getting, get an understanding. Okay. And it also says that, you got to have a level of knowledge. Come on. We're getting ready to get toward the end of the show. I want to once again let you know, during this holiday season, I want to say this real slow, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Brown. If you are going through any type of mental health crisis and you feel like you need someone to talk to, they offer medical psychologists for children, adolescents, and adult, board certified, licensed mental health professional counselors, quality mental health professionals, quality independent living skill counselors, and so much more. Listen, you see the number scrolling at the bottom. Share this with a friend. Call that number. Go to the website. Let me post up the website right quick. Go to the website and find out the services that are offered, the type of insurances and the methods of pay that they take, and know that they will work with you. I'm going to turn it over to Brother Brown. Brother Brown, it is your show until we close. It's all you, sir.
I want to start by saying happy Thanksgiving to everyone. What I'd like for everyone to do is take a minute before the pies come out, before the turkey comes out, and reflect on what you're truly thankful for in your life. And you don't have to be thankful for the money or the gifts, or let's look at just being alive. Let's look at being healthy. let's just look at, I have my child or my son, and even if you've lost a loved one through over the past, few months or a year, let's celebrate the lives and the time you had with those individuals. I believe, as if I said, I put the challenge out there. If you don't have anything to be thankful for, call me, and I promise I can give you at least 10 things that's you can be thankful for. So if you have issues of mental health, please contact Positive Choices. Reach out, make that call. We will connect you with qualified mental health professionals that will help you through whatever this life cycle is throwing at you, and you will not have to go through it alone. So until we get together again next Friday, I'm sorry, next Wednesday, we want to say happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays to you. Brother Dupree, I don't want you to feel the least bit
Man,
distraught
I'm
about
good.
what
Listen,
we said
listen,
here
my brother.
tonight, because I believe that what we said was true gems.
Right,
There
right.
were
You know,
things
hold it.
that, unfortunately, what we talked about when we first started this Wellness Wednesday and Mental Health Monday. We say things that people are not always going to want to hear,
Right,
but need
right.
to be said. And if anyone was insulted or hurt by what we said, that was never the intention.
Oh
The
no, no.
intention was to disseminate information,
Correct.
and
And
and not only that, the information we said is good information.
come
And
on.
it's information that could better the quality of life, because what we say, what a better, what do we say,
A healthy you is a
is a what,
better you.
is a
Is a
better,
better you.
right,
And you got to be holistically healthy. So
exactly,
listen, even to the people who are backdoored and sent it to me, I know these people personally. I understand what they're trying to say. And yes, but I want them to understand that first of all, to me, we're here giving information. I'm not here to
correct,
tell you how to think.
correct,
I'm not telling you what to think, but I
correct.
am telling you you need to think.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm.
need to make sure that your decisions are made upon facts that best accommodate you in your situation, not me in my situation. See, because what might be good for me might not be good for you, and
Correct,
vice versa.
correct.
In the end, we understand we have a difficult task. And Sister Rhonda put something in here that made me smile. Somebody else inboxed me and said the same thing. They said, you're putting yourself on the front line to give the information that we should be getting from other sources, but
Mm-hmm.
those other sources aren't willing to put their credibility on the line
Correct.
and wake us up, because they have bosses that may tell them that, oh, wait a minute, you waking too many people up, and that's not the goal, because the goal is, because sometimes good news happens to be bad news, and,
So,
and 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 enlightening folks to do better is not good news to some folks.
mm-hmm.
So
We're gonna
we're
talk
just
more
here trying to do our part.
value versus cost, and
Come
that's
on,
what we're doing. we
come
we
on.
give valuable information, and we hope that individuals can take this, use it to better the quality of life, and not just use it as, a point of interest to create debate, because that's not what we're doing.
No, 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 no. We're here because we want you to know that your mental health matters. And the
That's
things that we're talking about right now, there are people out there struggling with these issues at the
absolutely.
level of thinking about, I can't keep up with the Joneses. I need to commit suicide. I
Mm-hmm.
can't buy this for my children for this
So I'm
holiday
left in the
season.
family. Yeah.
I'm thinking about committing suicide. I'm thinking about doing something that could either endanger myself or someone else close to me, just to try to get myself in a mental state of mind of keeping up with something that might not even need to be kept up with. So we're here just to be a blessing to folks and to let you know that there is a place. There is a place, family. And there are people out there, counselors that look like you and I, people who look like you and I, people who have your best mental health interests in hand and at heart, and
Mm-hmm.
we want to help. So check out my good people at Positive Choices. You see the website, you see the number. I'm getting ready to get up out of here and get ready for this thing called Thanksgiving.
All
And
right.
this thing called the Bayou Classic Weekend, my brother, is at my favorite spot because I go at least 2, 3 times a year to Orange Beach. This year, I have literally been to Orange Beach, I think 3 times, 3 or 4 times.
Well, I'm having a
Uh,
ball, man. I am truly enjoying the time here, and I look forward to spending Thanksgiving with my family, and we're gonna be here having a good time, man. And
all right,
happy Thanksgiving to you and yours,
to you
and
and
we'll see
yours.
each other soon.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving to all our followers, all our listeners. Share this with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. There's the website. There's the number. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays. Happy Bayou Classic to all my
All
Southern and
right,
Grambling all my people in the swag. Big ups to J State and to Prairie View A&M for making it to the championship game. So big ups to all my HBCUs. We up out of here. Peace, love, hair grease. Until next Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday. We out. Peace.